Welcome to another episode of Pirkei Avot. We're now going to do Mishnayot 10 and 11, and we'd like to dedicate this episode in memory of Elisheva Yael bat Levy, and of course Levy ben Moshe Esther, and Shlomo ben Moshe Esther. And we're going to hand over to Michael.
Thank you very much, Rav Sheikh. So, in this episode, we'll probably try and combine 10 and 11. We're talking about two characters, Shemaiah and Avtalion. This is another pair of leaders. Shemaiah was the Nossi, who was the higher, and the Avtalion was the Av Beis Din. So, Shemaiah and Avtalion, also known as Sameas and Polion, as mentioned by Josephus in his records. This was in the Second Temple period. Now we'll concentrate on Shemaiah initially, Sameas, who was the only person on record ever to take on King Herod. As we know, King Herod the Great was not that great. Mm-hmm. He was a violent individual, a brute of a king, and he murdered a lot of people, his enemies, and he murdered his family, a lot of his family too. He was an unforgiving man, and we'll hear about him. So King Herod, in order to further his political advantages, murdered or had assassinated a Galilean leader. And because of this act, he was brought to boot to the Sanhedrin and had to give evidence. It is recorded that he turned up at Sanhedrin in full purple robes of monarchy, very, very intimidating to the 70 members of the Sanhedrin, the 71 elders, who were apparently too frightened even to talk. Imagine this, one of the most powerful rulers of Israel being brought to justice by this Shemaiah, who was a very brave man.
He was a convert as well. Shemaiah and Avtalion were both converts.
Yeah. So Shemaiah, apparently, according to records, ripped into King Herod, Impeachment, yes, exactly. Even though King Herod kind of respected him in some way, because he allowed Shemaiah and Avtalion to, well, he didn't kill them originally, before that. So this Shemaiah was a great leader, he was a brave man, and his wisdom was sought throughout the area for his leadership advice. So what does he say? So the Mishna 10 starts, Shemaiah va'Avtalion kiblu mehem. Shemaiah and Avtalion received the old tradition from the previous pair. Shemaiah omer ohev et hamalacha. Shemaiah said, love work. Shona et haubonut, and hate acting the superior. V'al titvadeh l'reshut, and do not attempt to draw near to the ruling authority. So what does this mean? Love work. This is a simple, basic statement that everybody can appreciate. You must love what you do. If you love the work you do, it doesn't feel like work. You'll put more effort into it. It won't be a 9-to-5 vocation. You'll work as long as you are able to. And you'll work with a full heart, an open heart, and you'll get the job done very, very convincingly and very well when you love what you do. It's a great bracha to actually be involved in a work that you love doing. When you wake up in the morning, you get up early and you're ready, you're happy to face the day, to face whatever work as to whatever work you have to do.
I think also it's important to say that whereas there are certain types of work that naturally a person would have an affinity, he would love to do. I mean, there are people I know who would love to be like a games tester, to sit in front of all these computer games and play them all day and evaluate them and get paid for it. I mean, people like that's not really That's very simple. Of course, you're going to love that type of work. I think also you have to mention that whatever work you do, maybe you should make an effort to love the work that you do, as opposed to do the work that you love, which is obviously the ideal. But if you're doing a job where you're sort of, that's how you earn your parnasah, you don't really have a choice in it, then you should try and love the work that you do. The more enthusiastic you are, the more it will carry you through the day. Find out how important it is to do the job, and it will fill you with hitlavut, with enthusiasm, and that way it won't seem like work. It'll be like the whole day will go by and like, what? I can't believe it's the end of the day already.
Yeah.
And then you'll be wanting to work on Sunday and Motzei Shabbat and whatever, but theoretically. Anyway.
It mentions Usna et harabanot. This literally means hate the rabbanut. It doesn't mean that in this situation. It means hate kind of acting the superior is a translation. Basically, it says don't love leadership because you want to be the focus of attention. Do it because you want to help people. You should hate the honor and the attention, but love the work. As we've actually learned in, we did a previous lecture on regarding Rambam. He was talking about the king's services. The king should not be a kind of a narcissist. He shouldn't think that he's the ruler over people. Basically, his subjects are his bosses. So you'd have that mindset, have a mindset of humility. Now, what does it mean when it says, "Do not attempt to draw near to the ruling authority"? Here, what he means by that is, don't try to come to the attention of those in authority. Don't be like a social climber, because most of the time, when you come to public attention and you try to arrange photo opportunities with the right people, sometimes it can serve you the wrong way, and invariably it will backfire on you. Someone will dig up something from your past, or someone will say something about you, and because you've put yourself out there, you're subject to a lot of people's criticism. So what does Rambam say about this? This government that we talk about, don't draw near to the ruling authority. This means this government, Rishut, is the authorities. I'm quoting Rambam. And in these three traits, there is a refinement of faithfulness and of the world. As with the absence of work, things will be tight for him, and he will rob and be unfaithful. And with the pursuit of lordship, he will have challenges in the world and bad things, as since people will be jealous of him and disagree with him, he will lose his faithfulness. As it is said in Sanhedrin, Daf 103, Amud Base, once a man is appointed an officer over the community below, he becomes an evildoer above. And so too regarding familiarity with the government in the early days and coming close to it, it was very unusual to escape from the damage caused by it in this world. And he will not pay attention to anything except which brings him close to it. And the matter with Doeg. We remember this.
Yes, we mentioned
even
that.
though the authority with which Doeg became close was the anointed of Hashem and the prophet and God's chosen one, may he be blessed. So this is what Rambam talks about in regards to this. So what does Bartanura say? Shemaiah and Avtalion. These were righteous converts, like you said before, Rav Mashiach. These were converts. Just goes to show you that even that you can be a converted Jew and still maintain one of the highest judicial office of Israel, which was an amazing thing. Obviously, you can't become the king, but you could hold the highest head of court. So. So that's that's what Shemaiah said. So what does Avtalion in Mishnah 11 say? Avtalion Omer Chachamim Isharu b'divreichem. Avtalion used to say, sages, be careful with your words. Shema tachuvu chovat golut v'siglu limkom mayim haraim, lest you incur the penalty of exile and be carried off to a place of evil waters. Vayishtu hatalmidim haboim achareichem vayimusu, and the disciples who follow you drink and die. V'nimtza Shem Shemaim mitchalel, and thus the name of Hashem, and then the name of heaven becomes profaned. So, just a little word before we talk about this Mishnah is who Avtalion was. Avtalion is an Aramaic name. It means the father of the orphans. One of the principal roles of the Beis Din was to take care of orphans, and Avtalion excelled at this duty, and he became very famous for it. What greater honor is there than to be called the father of orphans? Since we've learned previously in Hilchot Teshuvah, I think it was, about Rambam saying that Hashem has a special place for orphans. Yeah. He personally gives divine retribution against anybody who bullies or harms orphans. So what greater honor than to be called the father of orphans? What a beautiful Avtalion. Yeah. Avtalion is in the Aramaic
of Av Yatomim, the father of orphans.
Yeah. So what does Rambam say about this Mishnah number 11? He says, regarding the word evil waters, he says, be careful with your words, lest you incur the penalty of exile and be carried off to a place of evil waters. Rambam says, evil waters is a nickname for heresy. And they say, be careful with your words among the masses, and there should not be in your words something that can support a different interpretation than what you mean. As if there are heretical men there, they will interpret them according to their beliefs, and the students will have already heard them from them, and they will turn to heresy, and they will think that these were your beliefs, and that there be a desecration of Hashem, as happened to Antigonus and with Sadok and Beitos. So that's what Rambam comments on this. So, but we can also apply what is being said here. You must be very careful with your words. We today are recording this online, and we are putting this out to the world. We must be very careful what we say and the words that are recorded, because if you now the audiences of teachings are far greater, and we are very, very aware that social media has recently, in the last 10 years or so, has had unprecedented immediate effect upon massive swathes of the world's populations. So conspiracy theorists and other such like people have managed to take a foothold in people's minds in a far more powerful way than ever before. So what we're being told is you must be very careful with your words. You must be careful not to say something that can be misconstrued, because you can seem like a very wise person, but a lot of people may disagree with that very vehemently.
It's true. You know, the power, the force of social media is so strong. You can see these really antithetical ideologies are supported. Normally they'd be sort of the chit chatter of like lunatic people who stand on soapboxes in Hyde Park Corner. Now they're given the credibility of world leaders almost.
Yeah, exactly. But even if you're talking true words, you'll invariably, because your audience is so massive, you'll find people who disagree with you, and they will deem you, as Rambam mentions, a heretic. You can be deemed a heretic even though what you're saying is correct, but it's a heretic in someone else's heresy according to someone else, a certain segment of the population is listening to you. So very interesting Avtalion and Shammai. Very interesting pair. And next week we are going to learn about their greatest students, Hillel and Shammai.
Yeah, the famous Hillel and Shammai. I'm very much looking forward to that. Until the next time we meet, have a wonderful and safe time. Look after yourselves and see you then.